Hello, everyone. Welcome to Do and Decompress. My name is Merlin, and this is a space where everybody shares their experiences on everyday life, on things that we do every day, and occasions that occur to us, and events or occasions or things or periods in life that happen to us. And here at Do and Decompress, we try to understand, why does this happen? What do we do when this happens? Now, I have to say that we are not doing this because I have figured things out. In fact, it is far from the opposite. My life is the real definition of someone who has not figured things out. And I have to say that sometimes I really do feel left behind by the people of my train, the people of my generation. The choices that people make me wonder, is there something wrong with me? But it just occurred to me a couple of weeks ago that maybe, just maybe, my thought process through it is what makes it more difficult than really should be. And I am ideally just doing life in my own way, just as everybody else is. So, enough about gatekeeping and whatever that introduction is about. We will get started on a very first episode on a very fast question that we have to deal with every day. And if you can relate to this, just write to us in the comment section. Talk to us about your experience with this and how, if you've been able to overcome it, please share with us so that we can learn. Social media was created that we can learn from one another, that we can share with each other, that we can communicate and not feel so far from each other. So the question is, why do we make great plans at night and then we forget about all those things in the morning? It's ridiculous, right? Like, think about this. You have done your day. It was good, it was bad. Maybe you finished. It's the end of the day. If you sleep early, maybe 10:30. If you're a night owl like me, maybe 1 a.m. And you have just finished your day and you're lying in bed and suddenly your mind just activates. It's like a switch. You're like, who told you to go hunting in whatever jungle you're hunting now? But suddenly you are a superhero in your head. You decide that today was a bad day, or today was a slow day, or today I made bad choices and tomorrow is going to be different. So you decide, I'll wake up early. I will make a proper meal. I will exercise. I will read 2 pages in a book. I will respond to emails that I have been avoiding. I will, start the business I've been thinking about. In that moment, you think about so many things and you build your fantasy to cloud 9 in a matter of like 5 minutes. All of a sudden you figure out how you are the best money manager. All of a sudden you realize how you can be the best version of a parent. All of a sudden you realize how you have been doing life in a less perspective, and now it's time to gear up. Then the next morning, life comes knocking at your door. So it's morning, you wake up. First of all, that alarm that you set for, 6:30, and you're used to waking up at 10 a.m., which is not a good thing. Don't wake up at 10 a.m. Try to keep your waking hours to before 7 or 7 a.m. if you can. I don't know. But that's going to be a story for a different episode. Right now, we just think about, it's in the morning. Whatever time you had targeted to wake up, it rings. And what is the first thing you do? You snooze. I know, you said it with me. You snooze it. And then you snooze it again. As a matter of fact, those people who it works for you by setting alarms for 6, 6:05, 6:07, 6:10, 6:15, 6:20. I can't do that. But for some people, it seems to work and it seems to be alerting enough to be able to get them to wake up. But for me, I might just flush that phone in the toilet if I do that. But you try to think. Now, all the plans that you had made the previous night, if you're like me, they're all gone. There's nothing in the brain. I think like 48 hours ago, I was having one of those moments, and I woke up and I was like, what was the first thing that me and my brain agreed to do with each other in the morning? What was that first thing? And it wasn't there. It was like, I'm telling you, there's nothing that was registering in my brain, nothing at all. But all the same, for some people you can be able to remember it. And now the problem is, are they being doable? What can you do these things? Are you catching anything? Nothing at all. You can't get yourself out of the bed. You can't. And the easiest thing to do, which you do with 100% version of guilt, is, I don't know, you take it and start scrolling. And sometimes the content that you're scrolling through is content that is calling you out. Like those captions that people caption these days, like continue spending 5 hours in bed instead of learning a new, what is it called, you learn a new skill or do something new. Well, the guilt that comes with these versions of content. But I'm pretty sure that every single one of us has experienced it in one way or another. But the point is this. So when that moment dawns and then you find yourself struggling with what is next, the next instinct that kicks in is, I have very bad discipline habits. I have crucified myself with that for about 3 years now. And believe me, there are things I know that I have bad habits. There are things I know, stand down, I have bad habits, very horrible habits. But sometimes I'm like, is this really a unique experience to me? Is everybody else who is figuring things out here just that disciplined? Is it that people get this right so much? Not to mention also the version of what we are calling having figured life out is equal to monetary value, which is maybe not so much of a correct perspective of figuring life out. But again, that is going to be an issue for a different episode. For now, we are dealing with night plans, dawning crucifixion. So, the first thing I want you to realize is that planning and doing are two very different entities. In planning, it is effortless. It is just your mind pushing, building, working, moving up, going up, fixing, up, down. You can be an owner of a car brand, of a car assembly company, within minutes with your brain. You and I know that. But it's very different when it comes to implementation. That startup idea that you have, that content creation idea that you have, which for me, this is my new dawning, by the way. So that's why I'm saying I haven't figured these things out. This is my new dawning, like me creating this. So for the planning phase, it is no difficult decisions, no interruptions, you don't get tired, no nothing. But the actual doing means dealing with people, dealing with things, dealing with consequences, dealing with difficult moments, fixing issues that you did not foresee. That makes all the difference. Now, getting yourself out of bed is a completely different identity altogether. That one, oh dear, you're gonna have to work it through. You have to tell your brain, your heart, your mind, and your soul to get up, to get out of that bed. But of course, there are things that you can do. If rewarding yourself works for you, reward yourself. If you say, I will reward myself with this if I can make it. Like, for example, sometimes I am a very big fan of eating maybe salty foods. Maybe I'll have some fried potatoes, which are not very healthy, but in the fridge. And you're like, okay, so I will wake up and then I will go and get the fried potatoes. But be careful, because sometimes I do that myself and then I eat the potatoes and go back to bed. Yeah, sometimes I can be that lifeless. But all the same, the reality is, when you're planning all this at night, it looked like a futuristic problem. So tomorrow will come and we will fix the problem. But in the morning, tomorrow is here. Are we ready to fix that problem? I mean, there is an infinitesimal amount of concept that involves discipline, where you have to convince yourself, really, for sure, that you're failing and you have to do things right. But it is not a crucifixion situation that will not help you. Sometimes you crucify yourself and you go down the hill even further. You push yourself further into the hole, and it becomes twice as painful. So some people resolve to just throw their hands and be like, you know what, I'm done trying. Other people are like, no, let's keep going, even if it goes south even further. For some people, it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is for you. You can tell us what these moments and these experiences have for you. But because I don't want to go too long in this conversation, the question becomes, now what are we going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, we need to decompress ourselves from it. I have resolved to stop planning. And what ideally I do is create only one small role in my mind that is too easy to fail to do. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, I have to do it, like not literally, in a phrase context, saying at the end of the day. And remember, it's morning, so you put yourself in a situation where the one thing that needs to be achieved is very small. And one of the other things I do is to set accountability for it. So like I tell my friends or tell my roommates, in the morning, just make sure that I clear this table. It doesn't involve any money, it doesn't involve any payment, it doesn't involve any teamwork, it doesn't involve any big decisions. But for me, that table being clean, since it is something that I've always wanted to do, makes all the difference. So think about it. You can start by making only one small, teeny, tiny decision that you need to do the next day. So instead of study, write, exercise, I don't know, do what, go where, fix this, work on this business, one infinitesimal thing. I have realized that once you put your body into momentum, once you put yourself in motion, unless you're naturally a lazy person, which is a different issue altogether that we deal with every day. If you think there is a person in this life who hasn't dealt with laziness, there's something wrong with you. As a matter of fact, tell us why you think that nobody, even those people that you have thought about in your life who seem to have figured it out, they have dealt with laziness. Everyone has their own version of chaos that they have to deal with. Yeah. So think of one small thing. Keep yourself accountable. Make sure that you do it. And when you do it, reward yourself for it. All right? And don't gauge yourself at the end of the day on an emotional basis. That I only did one thing. If the goal or the measure of success that we had for that day, as someone who is trying to get themselves out of a loophole, was that one thing which was clearing the table, if you did it, then you have a successful day. All right? Allow that to settle nicely in your system. Of course, we expect that the next day and the next day after that, it's not just going to be clearing a table, but there's going to be things that will start becoming a routine. So you know that always, every single day, every first thing that you have to do every day is clearing the table. As a matter of fact, you leave dishes on the table on purpose to just make sure that it is the first thing you do in the morning. So you make it, you do it, and the 21 days rule always works. That one we know, that as long as you can do something consistently for 21 days, then it becomes an autopilot. Also remember, if you're like me and had everything in life pre-planned, and now you have gotten to adulthood and there's no plan, where there's no schedule, there is no A to wake up to run to, there is no grades or cut or quiz you need to get up to go get. Sometimes you're chasing daily bread, sometimes you're chasing extra cash, sometimes you're chasing extra cash flow sources, sometimes you're chasing financial freedom, whatever it is the case. Of course, you can see how much money really shines brightly in this scenario, even when it shouldn't. But if you're in this loophole of life that you're trying to figure out and you want to get yourself out there, please, please, please don't allow yourself to be stuck in a loophole over and over and over, because you are setting standards again and again and again, even when you know they're going to fail. So that was from me. It's your girl Jam Eve. This is Do and Decompress, and we always say think less, do more, decompress often, and remember, Jesus loves you. Bye bye.